Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Today, we are going to be looking at those 11 altcoins that we spoke about being on the cusp of major moves to the upside. We're actually going to be adding 2 more altcoins to that list. Wherever we look, we are noticing falling wedges across the board. And actually, where we're going to be starting the video off is by really talking about the cryptocurrency space as a whole, looking at Bitcoin, which is ultimately going to be the tide that rises and sinks the ships that are the altcoins, and also looking at the total market caps. So looking at what they're predicting, and they're all on the cusp of something monumental also, that next leg up to the upside. And this is very interesting when we look at these altcoins that we've looked at previously, the 11 altcoins that we identified falling wedges for. Not only have many of them broken out of these falling wedges, they've came back for that retest of what was your capping descending sort of upper band of your wedge or upper grind line of your wedge. Now they're ready for that explosion to the upside. And when we look at the total market caps and Bitcoin and what it's about to do, the stars are very much aligned, ladies and gentlemen. The stage is set. So we're going to be getting into those 13 altcoins. We're going to be recapping on what a falling wedge is. We're going to be looking at a schematic of it, showing you an example in regards to ETC, something that we were trading back in 2019. To start the video off, though, however, I want to talk about Bitcoin, which is going to be the permissioner, the daddy of the cryptocurrency space. I think it's going to remain that way for a while. But when we look at Bitcoin, we ultimately have lots of confluence in technical patterns that lead us to believe that we have upside ahead of us. There's 4 here. There is a smaller one. We'll drop down the time frames in just a second. But we've got the fact that we're in an uptrend. You don't bet against the trend. That's one thing going in Bitcoin's favor in regards to making the bull case. You've got your inverse head and shoulders. You can see this is your left shoulder, your head, your right shoulder. That takes you to 151K. You've got a cup and handle here in a very cup and handle-esque fashion. I've shown you plenty of examples of other charts that essentially are blueprints for what's to come for Bitcoin, and then making their target is the equivalent of Bitcoin making its 151K target. Really kind of flying through this because I want to get onto these individual altcoins that I'm sure you guys are all excited about and watching along with me. There's many other altcoins out there that are showing real signs of life. These are just some that we have a very solid and concrete technical pattern for. There's also what we believe is a bull flag. So there's 4 things, and we'll add a 5th in there in regards to a smaller structure that we're watching going into FOMC, that lead us to believe, and we have a 84K target for this, that Bitcoin is heading to the upside. And it's on the cusp of doing that in regards to completing this correction that it's been back, that it's been in since March. Ultimately, the altcoins have largely just followed this and unfortunately capitulated under its weakness. The tides are about to turn. You're about to see an acceleration in the altcoin market, and we have technical patterns for these 13 altcoins and the space more broadly. If you want to unlock what I own, do consider becoming a Patreon. Some altcoins in there I can guarantee you've never even heard of that have actually been around since the likes of 2017, and we think you're going to make a resurgence. But with Bitcoin rearing its head, the space generally, which I want to talk about now, embarking on a journey or that next leg up, these altcoins are going to absolutely rock. We have the technical patterns that sort of signify this. So this is the total cryptocurrency market cap. Everything, including Bitcoin, clear bull flag here, very clearly in an uptrend that we think is going to see the space go from 2.2 trillion to 4. That's that next leg up that we're talking about. Obviously, we've got those price predictions for Bitcoin, which is going to make up a large part of this, or the lion's share of this. When we look at the total cryptocurrency market, excluding Bitcoin, again, we have a bull flag that's going to take this from around about 900 billion all the way to 1.7 trillion. That's that doubling. And we're expecting, interesting, a lot of our altcoins to double in regards to the targets that are generated from these falling wedges. We're going to get onto that in just a second when we look at the total 3, which is pretty much where all these altcoins are. Everything outside of Bitcoin and Ethereum, you can see a similar thing. And actually, this is not only broken out of its falling wedge, bull flag, it's actually held it, which is very typical in regards to how you interact with an area of resistance. Often you'll flip it into support. But we think this is going to the sort of over $1 trillion. It's currently at 619. Also, when we look at others, the stars really do align, ladies and gentlemen. Look at this for a bull flag, a breakout, and now we're looking at that continuation to the upside. So we have the macro view of the markets from Bitcoin, the total cryptocurrency market caps, and they're all pointing in that upward trajectory. We're just waiting. Some of them have broken out of their bull flag. Some of them are yet to do so. Bitcoin just waiting to finish the corrective phase that it's been in. That's going to see altcoins accelerate. And we have the technical patterns for these altcoins to essentially dictate that. I want to refresh with you guys the pattern that it is we're looking at in regards to expecting upside for these altcoins. This is a very typical falling wedge. And I want you to pay attention. This schematic is an old one. It was actually of the Research in Motion RIM daily chart. And this is a falling wedge. Ignore this moving average, convergence, divergence, MACD. We ignore all of that. I can see where they're going with it. If you have that bullish divergence, on the sort of last low of the wedge, then that can be a good catalyst. I'm sure if we looked at that in relation to these, we would see something, but we're ignoring that for the time being. We're really predominantly focusing on the price action. So you come into a falling wedge, you have this kind of big blow off, then you have that smaller second move and that sort of smaller third move. The volatility, people are, oh, it's going down, oh, we're not that, there's this big move and then there's this kind of falling wedges can often be great continuation patterns. And I think that's very applicable to where these altcoins are. You've had this initial move and then you've had the kind of, as Bitcoin's, the sentiment's going back and then it comes back in a big way. And that's kind of also, I think, true with the seasonality that we're going into for markets. We still believe October, November, end of this year into next is going to be a great time for the markets generally. So pay attention to these three impulses. It's very common, very textbook, and they're present in all 13 of these altcoins. This is ETC, and you can see what it did. So this is very kind of almost H-bar-esque. We will be looking at H-bar, which is one of them in regards to its blow off. And then you come into this 1, 2, 3. You break out the volume, remember, on this typically is going to be declining. Low volume. And then you get that resurgence. And that's what ultimately would have led this to make its target. And on the point in which you broke, you then initially pulled back before seeing that continuation. Bear this and this in mind as we now go on to look at those 13 altcoins. And we've spoken about 11 of them before. But really, what we've done is we've identified the direction the space is about to head in. We've also looked at things in terms of stage 2 breakouts and the fact that they're also at support and expecting that upside. We're going to leave that for another video potentially. We're going to be focusing on those altcoins that we've previously given. So the first altcoin that, of course, we have for you is Chainlink. This is a textbook falling wedge, if ever I have seen one. We're on the daily timeframes here, ladies and gentlemen. You've got that one impulse, that second impulse, and that puny little third impulse fails to even put in a low. And then we get the breakout, we get the retest, and we get the continuation. You're going to see these altcoins start to accelerate in the near term, and you're essentially just here, and you've got this to come for them. So Chainlink is altcoin number uno. This is one to watch. I own Chainlink, to be totally transparent. We spoke about Algorand. 1, 2, 3. Breakout, retest, basing. There's real support here. You're going to see an acceleration off the back end of this. Hedera Hashgraph, arguably one of my favorite, if not my favorite altcoins. 1, 2, 3. Breakout, retest, continuation. You've got this to come, ladies and gentlemen, in regards to these coins. This is what we're on the cusp of. The next one, of course, that we gave was Cardano. Really puny third impulse, but higher than the last one. 1, 2, 3. Breakout, retest, support found, ready for that acceleration. Remember this schematic that we're looking at. This is how wedges typically play out. Again, we've got the likes of Filecoin. 1, 2, 3. Basing, finding that support, ready for continuation. You're going to rocket off of these, ladies and gentlemen. We spoke about Dogecoin and we said meme season was on. We got clowned because ultimately, after calling for this break, and we also called this on a sort of stage analysis basis or a phase analysis basis, what we teach in the market mastery course, it did this, but this is ultimately, you're going to see a real acceleration off of this. These altcoins are primed, ladies and gentlemen, and the broader view of the space very much dictates that this is going to be the case. So, of course, we've got Dogecoin. 1, 2, 3. A cash network, very interesting project. 1, 2, 3. Breakout, retest. Get ready for that continuation. Sheeb. 1, 2, 3. Basing, rounding out, breakout, volumes returned. Again, you get that constriction with a wedge, and then you get that expansion. And you can see even this is really good structure as well in the short term. So Shiba, near protocol, 1, 2, 3. Breakout, retest, finding support, ready for that breakout. Jasmine, we still need to do the price prediction on Jasmine, guys. It's an impressive one, by the way. 1, 2, 3. Breakout. Look at where you're finding your support. You can extend this. Render. Again. 1, 2, 3. Breakout. Retest. You are at that cusp of explosive price movement, ladies and gentlemen. It is coming. And then, of course, we've got Sushi Swap. Look at this go. Remember, we were looking at this pre-break. 1, 2, 3. Breakout. Having a little bit of a pause. Coming back to get the smart investor, the smart trader. And then continuation. I'm not invested in Sushi Swap. I don't really deal with DeFi. We've, of course, got Arweave. 1, 2, 3. This one's still yet to really break out and accelerate. But I think it's really going to get going once it does. We've shown its strength previously. And then, of course, we have Uniswap, which currently broke out. 1, 2, 3. This is breaking out, sort of having a little bit of a rest, and then it's going to really see that acceleration. So the 13 altcoins are Link, that we're identifying a falling wedge for, and we think that's a pattern that is going to see it increase significantly on a non-financial advisory basis. We're not a financial advisor here. Link, Algo, HBAR, ADA, Filecoin, Dogecoin, Akash, Shiba Sheeb, Near, Jasmine, Render, Sushi Swap, and Arweave. And actually, we've even thrown in Uniswap there. So we're giving you 14 altcoins that all have the same pattern. When it walketh, talketh, and quacketh like a duck, ladies and gentlemen. It's a duck. We think the broader context of where the space is at aligns with the technical patterns that we're seeing for these altcoins. Get ready for October to resume and a rocking November. I'm not really sure. We'll have to come up with something. Comment section below in regards to what we should title what we think is going to be a good November. That's it from me, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to love and leave you all on that note. Thanks a lot for watching. I hope to see you all in the next one.